Hello, welcome to One Africa Mission with your brother Dobia Anzansi. Please, if you are new here, please subscribe to our YouTube channel, One Africa Mission. Yeah, today just came out, and then the weather is so bad. It's snowing, almost everywhere it's snowing, but still have to come out and go to work. Still have to go to work. And then I said to myself, the level of commitment that we are as African people when we are outside of Africa, the level of commitment that we have when we are outside of Africa, I just asked myself, imagine if we can put up the same level of dedication and commitment when we are in Africa. Imagine if we can do the same thing. Africa would be the greatest continent in the world. Look, it's snowing. It's so bad. It's so bad. The snow is so bad. But you're not going to say because it's snowing, the weather is not good, then you're going to stay home. No. You have to come out and go to work. But in Africa, little change of weather, then nobody's ready to go out again. Little change of weather, when it starts pissing, not even raining, when it just starts pissing, nobody's ready to come out again. Especially those working in the government sector. Nobody's ready to come out again. And then when economies are not working, when things are not going the way we want, then we put the blames on government. We are more than ready to put the blame on government, even though we are not putting up any commitment and dedication. But when we have the opportunity to go outside of Africa, we are not putting any blame on government. We are not putting no blame on politicians. But we are so committed to our work or to our duties. We are so dedicated to our duties when we are outside of Africa. But when we are in Africa, the only thing we do is excuses, blaming government, and yet we are not ready to put up any commitment as we are when we are outside of Africa. Look at the weather. Look. It's snowing. It just starts snowing, and it's even getting worse. But you're not going to say because it's snowing, you're going to stay at home. No, you're not going to say because the weather is not good, you're going to stay at home. No, you will have to come out and work. And I ask myself, when we are in China, we are more than ready to put up the best of our commitment. When we are in Japan, when we are in America, even when we are in Afghanistan or Iraq or Syria or Lebanon, we are more than ready to put up our best. But when we are in Africa, no, little change of weather, then we are not ready to come out. I see African women in outside of Africa. I see African women running to catch up train, seriously running 100 meters marathon, running to catch up train, just because she doesn't want to miss to be late at work. But the same person in Africa wouldn't run to catch up even wouldn't run to even catch a bus because he or she gonna be late. No. But when we are outside of Africa, we are so committed, we are so dedicated, we are more than ready to do the right thing. But when we are in Africa, all that we do is look for reasons to blame other people, to blame politicians, to blame our leaders. But when we are outside of Africa, we don't blame no politician. No politician don't even have time for you. You blame yourself if you are not able to pay your bills. Look at how it is. Look at how the weather is. But I still have to come out. If it were to be in Africa, I'll be there blaming politicians. I'll be there putting the blame on politicians, putting the blame on my leaders, saying the leadership are like this, the leadership are like that. But when we come outside of Africa, we don't blame no politician. We don't blame no leader. When we come out of Africa, we take our destiny into our own hands. We are more than ready to work hard. We are more than ready to do the right thing. But when we are in Africa, no. It is all about, if it is not the politician, it is the leadership, the president is this, the minister is that. But you yourself, what is your level of commitment to see your continent or your country become better? If all of us who are living outside of Africa, I mean those of us who are here, those of us who are outside of Africa, in Britain, in China, in wherever we are, if we can go back to Africa and put up the same level of commitment that we are putting up when we are outside of Africa, I guarantee you Africa will be a paradise. Africa will be the most beautiful place to live. No, but we are not ready for that. We are not ready for that. You meet an African and try to talk to him about going back to Africa and then put up the level of commitment that he's putting up outside of Africa. It's the most boring topic you can ever write, you can ever bring up when you are with Africans. Yet, we blame the leaders, we blame the people who are back home. And yet, we are so committed when we are outside of Africa. Look at the weather. Just look. It's so bad. Yes, it's so bad. And yet, I have to come out. I still have to come out and work and go to work. But if it was to be back home, not ready to go out, if it was to be back home, you're going to be sitting down and then blaming other people, blaming politicians, blaming leadership, calling them corrupt. And yet, you are the most corrupt person you are even more corrupt than the leadership. Because you go to work, clock in, and then sitting down there sleeping, not attending to your customers. When you go to Africa, when you go to the bank, see how those young new those doing attachment and stuff like that, how they treat you. You are bringing your own money to them, but they treat you as if like they are doing you a favor. It's about time we change our attitude towards our work or towards Africa. Africa is the only thing that we have. It is the only thing that we have. And no matter where you come from, as long as you are a black man, you are an African. And then we must do everything we can to work for a good Africa. Because if Africa becomes better, all over the world, wherever we find ourselves, we will be respected. But as long as we are not ready to put up the level of commitment that we are putting up when we are outside of Africa, and then we expect other people to come and do it for us, we will always be a laughing stock. Look at how it is. Yeah? But you still have to come out. You still have to go to work. You still have to come out from the snow, the bad weather. You cannot blame nobody. You're not going to put any blame on anybody. You see? You cannot put no blame on anybody. You cannot blame the politician. You cannot blame the president. You cannot blame his ministers. You can only blame yourself if you are not able to pay your bills. If you are not able to pay your bills, you have nobody to blame but to blame yourself. But in Africa, you will not put up a commitment, dedication. You will not put seriousness on your work. And then when things are not going the way it's supposed to go, because you have a scapegoat, and that is the politician, that is the leadership, then you can put the blames on them. But outside of Africa, in America, in Britain, in Europe, in China, in Afghanistan, in Iraq, in Syria, there's nobody to put the blame on. You cannot put the blame on your leadership. You can only put the blame on yourself when things are not going for you the way you want it. So that is the reason why you will have to put up serious commitment when it comes to your work. Look at how it is. Look at how bad the weather is. Yeah? But I still have to come out and go to work. Because if I don't go to work, I cannot pay my bills. And if I don't pay my bills, I cannot blame the government. If I don't pay my bills, I cannot blame nobody but to blame myself. But in Africa, little change of weather, then because we have people to blame, we have somebody to blame, then we'll just stay indoors. We'll stay inside. No need to come out. When it starts pissing, not even raining, when it just starts pissing, you're going to see people not coming out, staying indoors. Why? Because there is a scapegoat. There's somebody out there to blame. And there's a politician to blame for your predicaments. There's government officials to blame there's the system to blame, and yet we don't take responsibilities. We don't take no responsibilities for our actions. It is about time we take Africa serious. And then to those of us who are outside of Africa, and then working hard, putting up all the seriousness, and then building up other people's countries, paying tax to build up other people's countries. It is about time we start considering taking back our knowledge, our experience that we gain outside of Africa to make Africa better. China, the Chinese people came out with a deliberate plan to make China a great nation, because they saw what their ancestors went through. They saw what China was disgraced, and they make it to themselves that what happened to them will not repeat itself. So Chinese students who were given the opportunity to go outside of China to go and learn, to go and study, according to study, 90 to 95% of them return back to China to help build China. But in the case of Africa, in the days of Kwame Nkrumah and Co. and Julius Nyerere, when they send African students to go out there and study, only 30 to 40% of them will return back to Africa. The rest of them, we are out there working to make other people's countries better. And yet, when we grow old and die, see, I nearly fall down. When we work and pay taxes to build other people's country, and then when we grow old, we then want to be sent back to Africa at the time that our knowledge, our strength has been used to build other people's countries. It is about time we too, those of us who have the opportunity to leave Africa, to go elsewhere and gain whatever experience you may gain, even if it is a cleaning experience, take it back home, take it back to Africa, go and help build Africa. Because if you don't build Africa, and if Africa is not respected, then you will have yourself to be blamed when your children are facing racism all over the world. We are more than ready to face racism in other people's country. We are not ready to face realities. Let us all come back home and help build our nation, our continent. Africa belongs to the people of Africa. With dedication and commitment, we can do it. I thank you very much for coming around. Subscribe to our YouTube channel.